Have you ever felt like there's something greater out there, something you can't quite place but it's always been there, waiting? Imagine a moment in your life when everything changes, the world as you know it shifted in an instant. What would you do if you discovered your family was destined for greatness, but also caught in the grip of an ancient curse? In the peaceful town of Zamalek, Cairo, twins Amira and Anita Mazarati had always felt like they didn't quite fit the mold. Born to Iranian and Argentine parents, their lives had been filled with the warmth of family, love, and laughter. Yet, there was always a whisper in the air, a strange feeling that followed them wherever they went, like an invisible force that somehow made them feel different from everyone else. They couldn't place it, but they knew that their family had a unique essence, a power that lingered just beneath the surface. Raised with the beauty of two contrasting cultures, the girls often felt proud of their mixed heritage. Their home was a sanctuary, where the aromatic scents of Iranian dishes blended with the rich flavors of Argentine cuisine. Their parents celebrated their cultural roots through vibrant traditions, stories, and customs that echoed both the history of Persia and the colorful rhythms of Buenos Aires. But something was missing. It was as if the world itself knew they were special, but they couldn't yet see the true depth of their calling. The night of their 18th birthday changed everything. The house was alive with music and the warmth of family. Their parents, busy in the kitchen, prepared a grand feast, a celebration of not just their coming of age, but the fusion of the past and future that Amira and Anita represented. The twins stepped outside to the backyard to blow out the candles on their birthday cake, unaware that this night would mark the beginning of something extraordinary. And then it happened. Without warning, a fire erupted from the earth, rising into the sky with an unnatural, twisting force. It wasn't like any fire they had ever seen. There was no smoke, no ash, just a mystical, glowing blaze of orange and red, dancing with energy that seemed to pulse with an ancient power. Amira, ever the curious and introspective twin, couldn't help but step closer to the fire. She felt drawn to it, as though something inside her called out to meet its flame. As she neared the fire, everything seemed to stop. Time itself seemed to pause. Amira's skin burned, but the fire didn't consume her. Instead, it ignited something deep within her, something ancient and powerful that had been dormant for centuries. Then she collapsed. Anita screamed in panic, rushing to her sister's side. The world spun around her, her heart racing, but when Amira awoke, it was as if the world had transformed before her very eyes. Her senses were heightened beyond belief. The air felt thicker, charged with energy. Her skin hummed with power. And when she opened her eyes, they were glowing with a deep, otherworldly amber, and her voice resonated with a power Anita could feel in her bones. Amira was no longer just Amira. The djinn had awoken. Khadija, the ancient being, bound by centuries-old contracts, had taken root inside her. Khadija was not inherently evil, nor was she wholly good. She was a being of immense power, one capable of both creation and destruction. Her release was not just an awakening, it was the opening of a door, and now Amira was the vessel. Anita stood frozen in shock, watching the transformation of her sister. The Amira she knew was slipping away, replaced by a being that was both her twin and something far greater, far more dangerous. Khadija spoke through Amira, revealing truths that shook their very foundation, their family's dark past, the ancient debt their ancestors owed, and the reason why they were now tangled in the jinn's web. As days passed, Amira's connection to Khadija deepened. Strange things began to happen. Objects moved without being touched, shadows flickered in the corners of their vision, and whispers filled the air, vanishing the moment anyone turned around. The world that Amira had known was slipping away, replaced by something darker and far more complex. But it wasn't just Amira who was changing. Anita was too. The bond between the sisters, once inseparable, began to fray. Anita felt betrayed. She had always been the responsible one, the caretaker of the family, while Amira was the dreamer, the one who embraced the unknown. Now her twin had become something else, something she couldn't understand or control. And jealousy, mixed with fear and confusion, began to grow within Anita. Why had the djinn chosen Amira? Why not her? The rift between the sisters deepened, as Anita struggled with her own feelings of inadequacy. She distanced herself from Amira, and with each passing day, their connection grew more fragile. The jinn's power seemed to pull them further apart. But as Amira embraced the power within her, she learned more about the debt her family owed. Khadija, the djinn, had been bound to the Mazarati family for centuries. An ancestor of theirs had once sought the jinn's aid, but when the time came to repay the debt, the ancestor failed, leaving Khadija trapped in an eternal prison until now. The djinn had waited for the next Mazarati to break the pact. and the twins were now caught in the web of the consequences. The debt was now in the open, and Khadija demanded payment. If the debt was not repaid, the world would fall into chaos. Khadija's power, unchecked, could tear apart the very fabric of reality. But there was a way out, an ancient ritual that could break the curse. However, it could only be completed if the twins reconciled and faced their deepest fears. In a moment of desperation, Anita made a decision that would change everything. She offered herself as a vessel for the djinn, hoping that by taking the power from Amira, she could save her sister and their family. But this act of selflessness came with consequences. As the djinn's power surged through Anita, she felt herself slipping away. The energy was overwhelming. She feared she might lose herself to Khadija completely. But in that moment she realized something. The bond between her and Amira wasn't just about proximity. It was deeper, rooted in love, trust, and understanding. And that connection, she realized, was stronger than any power, any djinn. In the final confrontation, Amira and Anita stood together against Khadija. The djinn, now fully unleashed, was a swirling mass of energy, beautiful, terrifying, and all-consuming. But the sisters, with their bond stronger than ever, confronted the force with unity. The djinn's power faltered, and with one final act of love and trust, they broke the curse that had bound their family for centuries. The battle was over, but the world was still changing. Khadija, freed from her ancient imprisonment, departed, leaving behind a legacy that would echo through time. The debt was paid, but the journey had only just begun. Amira and Anita stood side by side, forever changed but victorious. Their bond, once torn apart, was now unbreakable. The fire that had threatened to consume them had forged a new destiny, one filled with hope, possibility, and the knowledge that together they could face anything. As the dust settled, Amira and Anita were no longer just ordinary sisters. They were the bearers of an ancient legacy, united in strength, ready to face the unknown. And whatever came next, they would face it together. You find this story interesting? Don't forget to subscribe for more chilling content and hit the notification bell to stay updated.